returning to DRAW3 events. This will be our first deck profile on the channel. We are going over some of these slime decks that I've played previously with Pro DM Joey this previous week when he wanted to do some playtesting against slime overall. And today I'm being joined by one of my teammates, Gutless Mist, because he helped me kind of test with this deck and he was kind of the guinea pig I got to play against.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up playing a purple Oops All Choices variation of Purple Slime. Revolves around this 4-1 Rimuru raid, which says when played, draw 2, trash 1. Activate main, you can discard a card from your hand. If you do, you may choose one of the following abilities on your purple cards to choose all of the following until end of turn. Which that's a really good line of text, but inherently doesn't do anything by itself, but enables your other cards to be really good.
Yes, when playing against it, this ended up being the number one issue card, I think, because you do draw a lot, so you always have a card to discard to get all the effects. This card is it's uh, probably the best, maybe. It's this or one other card.
Yeah, if it's not this, then it'll be the next card we're going to transition to, which will be the
Yeah, this
Shion
one.
raid. So by itself, this is a when attacking. If Rimuru is on the field, you get to choose one of these effects. Either you can discard a card, and then you can play one purple, one or less required energy Team Reborn affinity from your sideline set to resting on your field. So technically, you can just discard the card you want to play, or you can choose one character in your field, give it plus 2k, or you can make her a 5k impactor. But with the Rimuru from the last turn, remember we can turn this choose one into choose all. So we get all three of these effects.
Yep, and that's when it starts becoming a problem. When you see that plus the Rimmer out there, they have because it's buff 2k, right? You can buff something by 2k, and that's normally what you did. So they normally just have swings that just swing over everything on your board.
Yeah, 100%. It's swinging over the board, and then just utility. Now the next thing that has another choose one or choose all thing, we have this 4-2. This is our 2 action point card in the deck. Is Diablo. He is when played if Rimuru is on the field. You see a thematic thing here. Rimuru needs to be on the field for our effects. You get to choose one of the following: either draw 2 cards and trash 1, make your opponent sideline one of their characters on their front line, or switch him active. But remember, if we've activated the Rimuru effect, we get all 3 of these effects.
Yeah, the Diablo card's pretty good card. This card, however, this card definitely needs Rimuru to be pretty good. This card alone is okay,
Yeah,
I guess, but for this card to have true value, it needs the Rimuru.
100%. It needs a Rimuru or the event that we'll get to. I think this card overall is most of the time you're playing this as a 4-2 to kill something on your opponent's front line. If you have Rimuru, well, now it's a 4-2 that's coming in active, drawing you 2 cards, and also removing something off your opponent's board. It's kind of nice. I think the only thing I don't like about it is your opponent gets to choose one of their cards to sideline. So if you play against yellow Sakamoto right now, or you play against green Milam, they do have the new cards that say can't be sidelined this turn, and they can just pick that card and it can't be sidelined, and you're just like, okay, that's terrible. But overall, I think if you're not playing, if those cards aren't on board, this card is very strong. Speaking of the event, we are playing a copy of it in this deck, which is just, it's kind of like if someone keeps answering your Rimmerus and not letting you have it, you get to change the next choose one ability on a purple card you play this turn to choose all of the following, and then you get your AP back. So it is just a free card to turn on the next choose all effect that you want.
Yeah, probably save it for probably Diablo is what you're gonna want it for.
100%. I think it's Diablo. Or, funny enough, this came up in a matchup with me and you, because when me and Gutless were playtesting this a whole bunch, he was playing Green Kenpachi. We'll get to our special here, which is
Oh yeah.
Master Chef. You can only use it if Sion is on your field, so you need to make sure you have a Sion on your board. It chooses a 5k in your opponent's front line, a 5k or less. You can either make it lose all abilities till the start of your next turn. So if they have a double blocker, you can be like, hey, you're just a vanilla 4k. you don't get to double block or do anything, or you can choose to just sideline the 5k. But remember, this is choose one of the following. So if we activate a Rimuru or the event, this becomes choose all. Which against Gutless, he had the 4-drop Kenpachi raid on top of a
Yeah.
4-drop, and he was like, "Oh, I'll just discard a card." I go, "No, I'm going to negate all your effects, and then I'm going to kill you." So he was not able to keep his body on board.
Yeah, not a good time on that one.
So I think this is very good, especially like if we look at like decks that are still like very strong. You look at like yellow girls, you can negate all the effects on the yellow 4-cost Ray, then kill it so they don't get to play anything. You can against red Shinji, you can negate the double blocker raid and then kill it so they don't get to draw to replay a body. Against Kenpachi and Green Toshi, like we said, you can negate the Kinney and then get rid of their cards. Against I know I know Gutless doesn't like this, but if you ever see a Wild Willy player, they tend to also have a Kenpachi raid. But you don't have to discard a card. You can negate that, get rid of that as well. Overall, this is just very good. And even if you're not using it to kill a guy, you can just use it to negate the effects so you can kind of get through and make sure there's nothing annoying stopping you.
Yeah, this deck definitely had a lot of tools. Has a lot of tools in it. It can do a lot of different things, and like I said, it's not just like one person you have to get rid of and deal with. There's two, which can be the problem because it's like, well,
Yeah, instead
do
of
I
just
just special this in on now, or if I do and I don't have a special in my hand, and then Rimuru comes out, and like, what are you gonna do? Like, bad things can happen if you don't have removal for the Rimuru or something.
100%. Like, I think it is good to have a deck that has multiple like lightning rods, as we call them. Like, it's hey, you have to remove these cards. Um, Another reason why I think this deck is very strong, in my opinion, is it's one of the decks that got a North American exclusive card, being this 4-drop Shion. Um, she allows you, when played, you either get to add a Rimuru or a Team Reborn with 1 cost or less from your sideline to your hand, or you can play a Rimuru or Team Reborn from your hand, 1 cost or less from your hand resting. So, but if you turn it to choose all, you literally get to play it, grab something from your trash, play it. So this is a 1 action point, 2 bodies, or 1 action point, get a body back to your hand like a raid target or something that you need.
And your deck has Nullify Impact in it,
Yes,
which is also pretty good.
yes, which is like something that is very strong, and we'll talk about like the list overall on each of the cards here. So we are on 10 zeros. We're on 4 of the Rimuru, which are just draw trash, just help us build our sideline. Plus, it is a raid target. We're on 4 of the Shion, which is also an active trigger. You realize so far we're on 3, 7, 10 active triggers, 11. So like, there's a chance like some of these little bodies do get to stick around. And then we're on 2 Team Reborn. So these are 0-drop 2k impact negates, which come up. Like, they come up way more than I like them to. Also just being a 2k baseline, because remember with the Shion, she gets to buff a guy by 2k. So these are just 4k swingers, like these little 0-drop bodies. So we can just buff them into 4k swingers to kind of pressure our opponent. The reason why we're only on 10 zeros, which is normally like breaks the pie because you want to be on like 12, is because we're on 7 ones. We're on 3 of the 1-drop Rimuru. Let's just let us look at the top card of our deck. We can put it at the sideline or leave it there. And then we're on 4 of our color trigger, being the 1-drop Shion, which is another negate impact. And it has, during your opponent's turn, if Rimuru is on your field, this is a 3k, not a 2k. Which also,
Yep.
yeah, which came up in our matchup again with Gutless, which is kind of weird that this deck like just actually does pretty fine into Green Toshi, because like if they're playing the 4-2 Shinji, I think Gutless was playing, it pops 2 things that are 2k or less or 15. Like, they have to have the same BP, but the fact that these are technically 3ks on his turn, he doesn't get to pop them.
No, not a good time. Not a good time at all.
And since these are all these bodies from our 1-drops down to our zeros, we can like get them back with the Shion, or anything besides the 0-drop Rimuru. With the 4-drop Shion, we can discard a card and replay any of these from our side. Oh, well, not the Rimuru, my bad. We can replay the 0-drop Shion, the 0-drop Team Reborn, and the 1-drop Shion. So with this Shion, we have 6 negate impacts that we can just keep looping. So if our opponent never gets rid of our Shion, every turn we can end on a Shion on the like a negate impact. And this deck can really, interestingly enough, play against red color trigger. So what you do is how Shion works is first you play a body, then you plus 2k, then you do the whole thing. So what you can do is you can play the body, so you can play one of these 2ks, then buff it to 4, and then she swings and they're not going to block. So then if they hit a color trigger, they're like, oh, I'll kill it. You're like, nope, I buffed it to a 4k because I played the body, then buffed the body. So you can kind of really protect your board from like red color triggers and blue color triggers, which I think that's very good on a deck that gets the free play bodies.
And then the other card, I forget, the 4-drop Shinon? Yeah, this one. What does this one do again?
This is the one that adds a Rimuru or the Reborn from sideline to
That's
our hand,
right.
or it can
Yeah.
play a Rimuru or Reborn from our hand to the board. So just kind of like the
Yes.
raid, it's just going to replay all these little guys. So we can just add one back and then free play it, or if we have one in hand, we can free play it, which is really good because like say we want to, we're on 4 energy and we want to do like a Rimuru Shion raid, we can like play Shion to the front line, spit out a Rimuru. Now we can raid the Rimuru. That puts us on 5. We do our draw trash. So we didn't draw anything. Then we can raid the Shion on the Shion. And then we're full board again. So it's like there's a lot of options that this deck can do, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I feel like its turn 3 is quite scary as well, because it's weird. The Diablo is kind of like a force blocker, I guess. So like, you kind of want your front board filled if you think a Diablo's coming, because if it's just one thing up there, you just play him and it's dead, and then they can do something else, and it can just snowball out of control. It's weird. You have to be very careful
Okay.
because you also have free play. So it's like, are he's gonna remove stuff or is he gonna fill up his board on his turn 3?
Yeah, and I think that's what like gives the deck such like a good versatility is like we're able to not only put a lot of pressure on, we can also just reestablish board. We have enough free play that we can just come back. We because we want to at least have one doubler because we want to just start filling up the board. We're playing some of the 2-drop Rimurus to just curve us to 4 energy if we go first. So that next turn we can start doing stuff. Or if you hit a Rimuru raid out of life on your opponent's turn because they pushed up, that just enables you to completely go crazy next turn because now you already have the Rimuru raid on board. So then you can like curve into the Shion. You can curve into our next doubler that we're gonna get to. I've liked this card the more and more I play it. I wish it was a 2k body, so if Shion buffed it, it would also swing for 4k. But I think this card would be very broken if it was a 2k. So this one is choose one of the following. Either look at the top 4 cards. You get to put one on top and the rest of the bottom in any order. So you get to like make sure you're drawing a good card next turn. Or you can look at the top card of your deck. If it's a Rimuru or a character of required energy 4, you get to add it to your hand. Otherwise, place on top or bottom. So when you're like curving out to your first like, so if you're going second, before you play this card, the card you like can play before it is 1-drop Rimuru. Look at the top. If you just see a 4-drop on top, then you just leave it there. You play this guy. You go, hey, I'm going to show you the top card. It's a 4-drop or Rimuru. Add it to my hand. So this guy just technically says draw 1. Or you can like kind of fix your deck. If you activate the Rimuru raid and you get all the effects, you get to now stack your top deck and then also get that card to your hand, which makes this card even better.
Yeah, that's another very good card in the deck. I've noticed in Union Arena they were making these 3-drop double energy cards. Most of them are actually becoming like very key pieces of the deck. Like you need some sort of 3-drop doubler that synergizes with the deck very well.
Yeah, I think the 3-drop doublers are like becoming like iconic in the deck. We are
Yeah.
playing 3 finals. We cut 1 for one of these events, puts another active trade in the deck, and also enables all the effects that we want to going forward. And now the last card we haven't talked about, and I think this card is kind of like an MVP if you played any of the release events or if you just think about how games of UA close out. We're playing 3 of the 4-drop Veldora. He has this wonderful line of text that says, during your turn, if on the front line, if you have 1 or more cards in your hand, and this character would be sidelined but one of yours or your opponent's abilities, you may discard a card instead. So you can swing with the rest of your board, and then if your opponent hits like a special and they're like, kill your Veldora, you're like, no, I'll just discard a card. So it lets us still keep that pressure on a body that your opponent just can't remove on your turn.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure the first time I played it, I was misreading it because it's your turn, right?
Yes, it is my
Where-
turn. When Gutless was first reading
Yeah.
it, he thought it was both turns. He was just like, well, I just don't, I can't kill
Yeah,
it.
yep, I was avoiding it. It got me.
And another good thing about this card is when this character attacks and wins a battle, you may draw a card. If you do, you discard a card. So he's also filtering himself. He's just a 4K swing that your opponent can't remove on your turn. But if they start blocking and you start winning battles with it, killing little chumpers, you get to like start filtering your hand more to get more answers.
Yeah, the card is actually quite annoying when it's on the board as well, with some of the other raids.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. I think overall, I'm very happy with like where this deck is. Shout outs to D3 Tantan. He's the one who provided this list, and it's the one I've been playtesting with. There is some other variants going around, especially with like the Rongo and like the Gabo Rongo, the one that says when attacking he can either not be blocked by 4K or higher or 3K or less. And technically with Rimuru you can make it so he can only be blocked by 35s, which if you know anything about UA, 35 is like the rarest like BP sometimes.
Good old 35.
Yeah, good old 35s. But I think overall, this is going to be a deck that we will probably see at LA that I know myself and some of the other D3 members will be at. I think some variation of Purple Rimuru will be played, whether it's like in this deck or with Hinata and Luminous, or Luminous Hinata with maybe some Shion Splash. In some capacity, I think there will be a purple slime deck doing well at these events. But overall, if you guys have any... If you have your own purple slime list, I'm more than welcome to look at it, post in the comments, talk to me about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or any of the D3 members, and we will try and give you our feedback that we can on the list or anything that you may be coming up. We'll be having more slime deck lists coming out, and we'll periodically do this with each of the sets that come out so everybody can get some info and see what we as D3 think about decks and think about where lists are and what we're kind of testing and looking at. Besides that, Gutless, do you have anything that you want to wrap up on this deck or in general?
I'll say in general for slime, I'll tell you right now, in most of these sets, if you see a Rimuru raid, you should probably kill it. That's the number one thing to kill.
That is 100% fair. If you read back to it, remember, Shion, it says if Rimuru is on your field. Diablo, if Rimuru is on your field. So it's like...
I think it's like that for most of the colors too.
Most of the colors. Definitely in some of our other deck lists, you'll see some other Rimuru raids most likely. And you'll see a growing trend. That main character energy is kind of a thing.